doing?
Yo.
Welcome back to Leather Helmet Fandom Podcast. It's week 14. Brought to you by Caleb and my brother
Josh.
Councilman, and we're getting into week 14. Like I said, let's talk over week 13 bets. I had you want to talk the numbers, Josh?
Yeah, I'll just go over a review of our numbers. I dropped again, negative 7.59 units for myself.
Okay.
I wouldn't say like I got a lot of hooks, but just a lot of bad beats. Like I would say going into the second quarters, I'm like, all right, I'm about to hit every single bet. And like an example, Kyle Pitts had 48 yards in the second quarter, and he didn't have 55. And he didn't get a single catch the rest of that second half.
I think we also stated that one of them's going to hit either Kyle Pitts or Patterson, and neither of them hit. So, obviously, that was just a bad game by Falcons in general.
That was bad. I had Brandon Ayuk only caught 3 for 9 and went for 55 yards. Yeah, 55 yards. I need him to get 60. That was pretty close. That was my lock, so that obviously shot me down. Yeah, a lot of those, though, like, I'm like, yeah, it's definitely going to hit. It's right there. Like, Jamal Williams, the first drive of the game, he gets a 9-yard catch. I'm like, all right, 11 more receiving yards, doesn't get one more single target. I'm like, okay, this makes sense. But, yeah, a rough week. Down to 30.4 for the year on units. I think this
crazy.
Week, yeah, I mean, I just had a lot of streak. My streak was, like, +8, +10, +8, +10.
Now it's -10, -10.
Yeah. I mean,
-7.
I think I dropped from 50 units. So, but I still think majority of my bets are good bets. So it's gonna move back in the positive direction. You ended up just over the positive at 0.5 units, bumping you up to a whopping 2.8 on the year. So you're still looking for your.
No, I had +5 units.
Did you
this week? The past week.
Yeah, but that just bumped you into the positive.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, I know what you mean now. I thought you meant, like, for overall, I'm now in the positive. But last week, I was +5, and you were -7 or something.
Yeah,
like
last
that,
week, you were bumped you into the positive at 2.3, and you just went up a half.
Right.
Yes. I mean, but you're on a streak. I mean, you were down to negative, what, 20?
Yeah, a lot. It was a lot.
At least negative 20.
Because I kept doing, like, crazy locks. Like, I'm pretty sure the 1 week my lock was like 10 units or some shit like that. So I learned my lesson. And I also did it on a spread, so I stopped doing that. Or is it over under? I think it was. But my lock hit again this week. I think I'm on a 3-week lock streak. So hopefully we run that into 4
too for the most part. I mean, the one was a little iffy because the 2 points.
Yeah, no, it was over and under.
You won it under 57.
Yeah, 57.5, and it went if they
kicked a field
goal instead of running it on fourth down, then I would have lost it. So the whole time I was just stressing. I was like, what's going on? What's going on?
Purpose, though, to run the clock out.
Yeah, they did. But that's the thing is, like, they could have easily kicked the field goal and it would have went up, and then I would have lost it. I was like, oh, I'm pissed now.
But from the beginning, that looked like a solid, like, I was definitely hitting.
Oh, yeah.
Because
just turned out ugly.
The Bears?
Yeah, and Red Rocket threw fucking 4 picks.
Yeah.
Crazy. Dude sucks. He needs to be out of the league, to be honest. He just needs to hang it up. It was Andy Dalton.
Yeah.
But it was a pretty good week for me in general. I actually hit a lot of my bets. I forget what I did as far as win and loss bets, not units in general. But it was a pretty good week. You want to spin that wheel since you took the L this week?
Let's pull this boy up. I'm like down to only like 4 or 5 options, so it's not looking great. Shot. I'm too hungover for that.
Bounce
back. So
is this another stupid fantasy thing, bro?
What do you mean? No, what do you mean? None of it's fantasy. Well, I guess the one kind of was.
But
bounce back giveaway is I got to give 50% of this week's profits to a random follower. So everybody start rooting for me.
So you can actually get profit.
Yeah. So at least don't give out $0. But I mean,
if you do go like
just saying,
+5 units, and that's good +2.5 units.
Tom Brady, I'm not going to keep going negative. So now I'm feeling like feeling like a positive, at least a positive 3. I'm going to say I'm a positive 3 to a positive 10 this week.
Positive 3 to a positive 10.
And my parlay is insane. So if I have to get 50% of this away and my parlay hits, like I might just lie and say
I'd even do a long shot parlay.
I might edit out like, nah, the parlay wasn't in there. You ain't getting 50% of all that money. It's like $1,000.
Yeah,
my
that's
parlay.
wild.
All right.
Let's jump straight into week 14. Yep. We start off like we always do with prop bets. My first one of, I think I want to say like the first game they're showing, at least. I'm not too sure. But Chiefs versus
it's a
Raiders.
Game? Really?
Yeah. Pretty sure it is.
Starting off hot. I mean, it might be. I didn't look at the times.
Josh Jacobs under 57.5 rushing yards, minus 114 for 1 unit. He hit this under 8 out of 10 games, so you're looking at 80% of the time he's hit this under. Obviously, Drake is out, so his snap percentage is going to go up, but he was used more as a receiver, Drake was, than a rusher. I mean, they split the workload, but Drake has always been like a receiving back as well as a rushing back. So it's not really going to take much away from or give more to Jacobs with him being out. And Waller and Ruggs is out. And most likely they'll be down to...
Ruggs is in jail.
Yeah. I actually put Ruggs is gone. That's what I wrote, but whatever. Ruggs is out in general. So I think it's going to be a lot more passing rather than running. Obviously, you can run on the Chiefs' defense, but I feel like they're going to need to pass more than run. Josh Jacobs had a great year last year, but like I said, he's hit this under 8 out of 10 games, so obviously he's not having a good year this year. He's also been hurt, so I'll look more into that. Chiefs are minus 10.5, so obviously Vegas is expecting Chiefs to have the lead by a lot and them have to throw the ball.
A little stretched out though from what it should be, just because.
Oh yeah, definitely, especially with Chiefs. Game. Chiefs like barely been covered all last year, and that was when they were good. So, the last meetup versus each other, he only had 16 yards. I don't even know how that's possible, but
because they were down like 30.
Oh yeah, it was a blowout. Yeah, so maybe it'll happen again. But who knows? I'm just gonna rock with Josh Jacobs strictly because I could see this being more of a passing game, the game strip going towards KC as far as getting the lead, and then on top of that, he's hit this 8 out of 10 times. Like you're gonna give me 80% time share of when he's hit this, I'm gonna take it all day long. So, you want to run off the first one?
Yeah, I'll stay in the same game. So the bet I've been riding with all year, about 50-50 with it, but Clyde under 14.5 longest rush. Got it negative 105 for odds, and I got 1 unit on it. Like I said, Clyde's not a yards after, or not a yards to catch. He's not a yards per carry type of guy. He kind of just grinds it out a couple yards, 3 to 7 here and there. They really don't give him the full workload. I feel like they're trying to though, like they're training towards that, because he's actually having decent weeks in like fantasy and whatnot. But again, I don't, and it's not the best matchup. It's kind of like a hit or miss bet, kind of like if you're betting like interceptions kind of deal. It only takes one blown coverage or one giant hole to open up, and he should have a 15-yard rush, but he's slow as a turtle. So I think the Raiders can handle him.
I think it also comes down to how much the Chiefs go up. If the Chiefs go up by a lot, then he's going to obviously have a lot more honestly, things like where they just give up and then give the pocket to him.
Rotate their running backs in a lot, especially when they're up. Like Darrell Williams. And
it's the only guy in the backfield. I don't know anyone else other than Darrell Williams.
Is Darwin Thompson still there?
I don't think so.
There's somebody else.
Bell's gone too.
Oh, what's it called still there? McKinnon. Jarek McKinnon.
Is he not hurt though? I haven't heard anything from him.
Yeah.
All right. Well, move on to my second bet. Same game again. Travis Kelce over 5.5 receptions. This is juiced out the ass. So I'm going to put 2 units on it. It's at minus 160 now. Woo. I got it at minus 162.
7? Oh,
yeah,
shit.
And the reason it's juiced is because he hit this 7 out of 12 games. So obviously that's more than half. And he got 8 receptions for 10 targets last meetup. So obviously whatever they did last meetup, he obviously did pretty damn good. You can pull out the other one. Or can you not? So anyway, he got 8 receptions for 10 targets last meetup. He's a check down guy, Mahomes' number one guy to rely on. So I can just easily see him getting the targets. It's just more or less if he catches it, which I think he will because he has great hands. And he has never the last 2 games he went under this, but has never had 3 games back to back obviously under this. So obviously he's trending downwards as far as receptions go, but he can also be trending upwards now because there's no way he's going to be on a 3-week down streak as far as receptions go. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got on it. They have his receiving at 70 yards. They have his receiving at 70.5 yards, so he should be able to make this close to 6 catches if he has that 70 yards, because chances are I doubt he's going to have, let's say, 5 catches and 70 yards. There's definitely a possibility of him getting a deep one, but he's, like I said, more of the check down guy, more of the, I need to win this game or I need to continue this drive. Let's just get it to Kelsey and get the first down. So I can see it at 5.5 going over rather than under for sure. 5 receptions seems very, very low for Travis Kelsey, but obviously Chiefs.
Oh, it's 5.5. I thought it was 6.5.
No, 5.5. So I just need him at 6.
That's not bad.
So, like I said, with 70 yards, they have him at for receiving. I could easily see him hitting this 6, but then again, you never know. I believe Raiders' pass rush is pretty good, but not enough for Mahomes to escape the pocket and extend the play to give it out to his old reliable.
Pretty good.
All right.
Underrated.
Well, that's it. You got the second bet, second prop.
Yeah, I'll roll into a bigger unit one. We got Chris Godwin under 6.5 receptions at plus 115 odds. So you get positive odds here. I got 3 units on it. Really not the best statistical. It's more like something you see with your eye type of deal. But his targets just vary a lot. Like 1 week he'll have 15. I think he had 15 last week. 15 or 17, something insane. But then he'll drop to like 3, 5, 7, 10, 5. Like if you just look at it, it bounces back all over. And I think it's really just obvious that Brady can spread the ball around, and he always will. He has all his weapons, so more of a reason why he's not going to hyper-target one guy. I think Mike Evans has a bounce-back game. He's been kind of under the radar recently.
He's been getting TDs. That's really about it.
Yeah, he's not getting any big targets. So I see him getting a little bit more targets. Gronk's always going to get his work because he's just a security blanket that never fails. But, yeah, I'm just betting on Godwin not having his best game, a little bit off after having a really good game.
It's a tough one, though. He's been looking really, really good lately. So
yeah, but I feel like
but I
more just comes down to his targets. Like if the man doesn't get more than 6 targets, which has happened like 3 or 4 times this year, then he can't hit it. There's he's got to get at least 7 targets to even hit it.
It's strictly just going to come down to how the game goes, I think. As far as obviously I think they should be up, but
yeah, he's 50-50 on it from the year, so I'm just expecting not 2 weeks in a row of high targets.
Right.
I'll move on to another one. Lower one, unit 1, I got Amari Cooper over 52.5 receiving yards. I got 1 unit on it at negative 115 odds. I think he's just going to have his normal week, which is 6-7 targets.
So it's under, you said?
No, I'm taking his over 52.5. I think the reason I took it is because I believe this line's a lot lower than it should be. I think he was normally in the 60s or almost even low 70s to start the year off. He got injured. CeeDee Lamb's been blowing up. Everyone's hype on him. CeeDee Lamb's at, I want to say almost 80 over under. It's in the 70s. I know that for sure. So a 20-yard difference. It's kind of suspect unless they know something about Amari Cooper's health. Not being fully healthy yet, but he seemed good in the game.
He only had 34. He only played 34%
last
week, and he got 41
had one big
yards.
catch.
Yeah.
But he looked good, so I don't see why he won't be back to normal 80, 90% snaps and get at least 6 targets.
Yeah, I don't see why he wouldn't come back.
Yeah.
It says he's back to at full strength, so I don't see why he wouldn't be getting targeted more.
And I really think CD is definitely an amazing receiver, but I still don't think he has the same connection that he has with Cooper.
Just not as big and like powerful and
but they're never on
the ball.
Like Lambs can be off page with Prescott. Like you'll notice like it looks like, oh, why does CD have to bend backwards and do all this? It's mainly because they're not on the same page versus Cooper just sits in the pocket and like knows exactly when Prescott's about to beam it.
Yeah, makes sense. All right, moving on to my next one. Alvin Kamara, 70 and a half rushing yards over at minus 114. I was going to take this for 1 unit if Ingram plays and 2 units if Ingram doesn't play. I will check to see if Ingram is playing. Lately, like an hour up before game, he wasn't, or he was still just questionable. So I don't know if he's playing or not. Still just leaving it there. It's not saying if he's in or out. He would have needed 2 positive tests 24 hours apart from each other to actually play. But
negative.
I'll just take it at 2 units. It is what it is. If he plays, he doesn't play.
Not worried about Taysom Hill.
Nah.
Rushing yards.
Nah. I mean, he's going to take rushing yards away, but this is Alvin Kamara's first game back. Yeah, he wasn't
like him to get, for some reason, a lot of passing work. Not that he usually does with Hill.
Yeah, I don't see Hill passing much. And plus, I also see them being up. They are playing Jets, so I can easily see them being up and him running more and not wanting to give it to, like, Taysom Hill's a rusher where if, like, you're trying to, like, get caught up or you need a first down because he can't find anyone in the pass game. So as long as they game script it to the actually running, giving the ball to Kamara to run off, I don't think they're going to do RPAs as much. So I got his over, and he hit this 4 out of 8 games, so it's 50-50. None of the games he went under did they have a huge lead. So obviously, if they do have a huge lead this game, like I project, or at least a lead, good enough to run the ball more than throw the ball, then I could see this game having a huge lead and them run the clock. Jets are fourth last in rushing yards allowed per game, so obviously it's complete ass. And they can run all over them. And yeah, I just see this Alvin Kamara coming back. Yeah, I believe he could have played last week, they were saying, but they wanted to have him sit out. And they had him, like, what was his bye? When did their bye happen? Oh, their bye was a while ago. But yeah, he could have played last week, but they just decided not to play him and have him sit and rest another week. So I think he's full health. I don't think there's any issues whatsoever as far as health goes. And I could just see him easily taking over the game, Saints, and pulling it through. We'll jump on another one real fast while Josh adding this in. Jameson Crowder, same game. Their 2 wide receivers are out, and Moore and who's the other dude? He's been out like most of the time. Jets wide receiver.
Corey Davis.
Corey Davis, he's out as well. So their main guy, or their next guy up is Jameson Crowder. Obviously, I'm going to take it at over 53.5 receiving yards, minus 110 for 1 unit. He only hit this 3 out of 9 games, but he's never been in a situation where both wide receivers are out and he's the only one left. Having a huge okay, you printed it weird now. It's seeing double.
Yeah, it's the first couple lines.
Jets should be down and down early. Obviously playing the Saints, like I just said 2 seconds ago, with Alvin Kamara. So I could see him throwing it a lot more. And Crowder has hit this over 2 out of 4 games he played with Wilson. Obviously, Wilson's back and healthy. So he's 50-50 with Wilson, and that was with Davis or Moore, like I said. Now they're both out. So obviously going to have to throw the ball a lot more to him rather than their other 2 guys. So that's mainly the reason that I'm taking his over at 53.
What's his targets been looking like
His
last couple of games?
targets the last couple games have been 6, 1, 7, 5, 7, 9, 7, 6.
Okay, so you should at least get 7 targets. It's not bad.
Right. And like I said, he's favored more when what's his name's in the games when I at least looked at them when Wilson's in the games. And that's also with both wide receivers out. So I think it's pretty low.
Do they have isn't Keelan Cole in the Jets, and he had
Keelan
like
Cole
a couple big
Jets,
plays?
Yeah. His biggest game was 92 yards versus Tennessee.
He had a couple
66 versus Indy.
Yeah, like I thought. They don't even have him up. I was looking to put a bet on him. At least on FanDuel, they don't have him.
Then they have Denzel Mims, which has done stuff from time to time, but not
like
really
him.
much at all. But either way, like I said, I think it strictly comes down to game script and how they're going to be down and just pass to him because he's going to be like their really only option. And I don't really think they really run the ball much, especially with what's his name out. I think it's just Ty Johnson that's in the backfield. But who's their guy? Prate or the one running back? The fuck was his name?
You're talking about the Bengals running back, but
No, I'm talking about
they have
Jets
Ty
running back.
Johnson. They have
Carter's out.
Michael Carter, the rookie.
Michael Carter's out. So I don't think they're going to be running it much at all. And Ty Johnson's more like a pass
sucks.
back. Yeah, but he's more of a pass back.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it's all
He
receptions. So they're going to be throwing the ball more. And I could easily see him hitting this over. So I'm going to take it at 1 unit, 53.5 yards. Jump on yours.
Yeah, I'll stay in the same game. I got Taysom Hill anytime touchdown, obviously rushing touchdown. Pretty good odds on it still, plus 150. I liked this one last week a lot. He didn't hit it, but it was pretty obvious a lot of their offense is going to be designed QB sneaks.
Mm-hmm.
So I think versus
They get close enough.
the Jets, who are allowing the most rushing touchdowns this year, this will be the Hill.
That's a good fact.
Hill should roll one in, if not even 2. I looked at his 2 touchdowns, and it wasn't even that high. It was like plus 1,300, so I just stayed away from it. I got this one at 0.75 units. So 0.75. Hill tore his finger ligament in his throwing hand. Very similar to Russell Wilson's, but he's still playing through it. So expect him not to have a big throwing game.
I didn't know that either. That's great.
Yeah. So honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they like mix up the QBs a little, kind of like how they do when Breeze was there. Just putting in, even though I know they hate Simeon, but putting him in for some bigger pass plays.
You think they could pass it down, like check downs to Kamara then a lot more now, you're saying?
That's what I was saying. Like, they might check down to him, and if Kamara pulls off a couple big receiving plays, then like
I just hope they don't like
might
run a
not
cover
rush
0 on them over and over then, because if they realize that Taysom Hill can't throw it downfield, they might just do that and just apply all pressure on him, especially with how the Jets have played in the past as far as just showing up when they randomly no one thought they were going to show
I
up.
definitely think it's not a great game to bet on the spread, even though the Saints should usually win. It's, I don't know.
It's weird. It could be an iffy game. All right, well, let's jump on to a bet we both have in Ryan Tannehill. We could speak on why we like it, even though I think we both are eerie about it, but it is what it is. Ryan Tannehill under. I got it at 222.5 passing yards. I don't know what you got it at, but I'm pretty sure it's what it's at right now.
226.5.
So I'm pretty sure it's at 222 right now, but you could check it on yours, whatever you do your sports betting on. I'm taking at 1 unit. You take it
MGM, so a little bit better.
Okay. I got it at 1 unit. I don't know where the odds were. I don't have it written out for some reason. But
It was,
what you have it for
mine was
1 unit?
-115.
You have it at 1 unit?
Yeah.
Okay. So just a few things that I like. He went under. He hit this under 7 out of 12 games. So obviously, again, that's over half. You're looking at like 60, a little bit above 60, I think. And they still don't have A.J. Brown, but they have Julio Jones back. I don't think Julio Jones does much in this offense. I think he's just, I wouldn't say washed, but he just doesn't contribute much, and he doesn't really live up to his name as far as on this offense. I also think that contributes to Ryan Tannehill. I don't think he's a good QB in general. I think take away the running game, and it's the end of the thing.
Yeah.
I think it's like a Baker thing. That's what I look at him as.
I mean,
A little bit better than Baker, but
Yeah, I was definitely like, even though he played amazing last year, after 2 amazing years in a row, I still
doubted him.
doubted him. Like every time I watched him make a big play, I'm like,
Same thing with Baker.
that was not a great throw at all. It was just the receiver.
Real fast, low stat I got too is the 4 games Julio Jones, obviously this is why I said this, 4 games Julio Jones played with Tannehill. He went under this 3 of those 4. And the one he went over was versus Seahawks, which we know has a shitty-ass defense. So, obviously, he doesn't really mean much to his offense, whether he's in or out. I think it's more A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown's been having great connection with Tannehill his whole career, and he always gets yak, and that's what I've been saying.
Who do they get this week? The Titans? That really matters.
Someone that they could lose to as well.
I think just one of those opposite, like someone they could beat.
Yeah, it's someone they could beat, but it's someone Jags. I think Jags could upset them with the way their Josh Allen showed up versus Bills and they beat the Bills and shit like that. I think it all shows up how their defense comes. But either way, I don't think he's gonna have a good passing game. I think they're gonna be able to run it on Jaguars more than anything. Jaguars defense is middle of the pack, but Titans rush game is a lot better than their pass game. I think everyone thinks, and I think statistics probably show that. So I think they're gonna run the ball. Plus they have 3 reliable running backs. You Devontae.
I got a prop on him.
What is his name?
Deontay Foreman.
Foreman, and then you have Hill, whatever his full name is. Here we got him right here, Hillard, and then you have McNichols, which they all have shown they can run the ball, and obviously we know that Titans are run first team instead of a pass. So I just like the bet. You want to move on to your next one though?
Yeah, I'll just Deontay Foreman. Got him over 57.5 rushing yards at -115. I got 1.5 units on this. I really just think he's a super explosive player that's been forgotten about. Ever since he tore his Achilles back, 4 years ago on the Texans, he kind of just been hopping from team to team, similar to almost like a Marlon Mack, super explosive, but just had really bad injury beat.
That's when he filled in for DJ David Johnson. He was David Johnson's backup.
Probably.
And
I just know he only had 2 games his rookie season before he tore it, and he would blow up for 100-yard rushes left and right.
Yep.
So I think he's just finally recovered from that injury that people said you'd never recover from. He looks good. 2 weeks ago, they had a week bye last week. But 2 weeks ago, he went for over 100 yards off 19 carries. I think they feed him again, give him at least 15 carries. I think this line's really low just because they haven't seen enough of Deontay Foreman. But if the man's healthy and the Titans get a lead, he's hitting this without even trying. Right. And he's not a pass-catching guy at all, so he's going to get the ball rushing before.
Nothing to relate to this bet. I mean, sort of, kind of. But do you think what the hell's his name, Hillard? If they take over the game more than I think, and they take it over more than you think,
the Titans,
yeah. Do you think it's gonna be questionable? Say if they split carries, and it's not because they're close game, but just because they're blowout, but they still split carries, and they both do good again. Because I'm pretty sure last time they both had great games with each other. Hillard had 131 yards, 12 for 131, and then Foreman had 19 for 109 yards. So it's who are they going to use? Are they both just going to be dominant?
I think it's just whoever shows more explosiveness or whoever they trust. We don't know too much, but whoever never drops the ball in practice type of deal.
Okay, yeah, I see it.
Which I think is going to be Foreman. He's a little bit bigger, as far as I know.
And as I said, that he took the first 2 carries, so
yeah,
most likely it will be him as the dude back. It's just when they put in Hillard last week,
I think
they put him in for rest, and
was,
Hillard just popped off.
I think Hillard
what the fuck?
one big run though. Yeah, so that most of his
One very
yards
big,
versus Foreman who.
But that's the thing. It was because of the explosiveness. If you talk about explosiveness,
yeah, but
he had it because of the explosiveness.
Just wait.
I know. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying if they have another game like they just did, then it's what the fudge? Where are we going with this? as far as running back goes for fantasy or for the line as far as gambling goes. Like who are they going to give the workload to? Are they going to keep splitting it because they both can
I feel like a
feed
lot of
off
times
each other?
they don't know that, they just keep it off the books.
What do you mean keep what off the books?
If they don't know a player at all.
Oh yeah.
Like they
But
can't figure it out.
They have Foreman on the books. They did have Hillard on the books too, but it was a lot lower than him. All right, I'm gonna jump on to the next bet. Both have it again. I'm almost positive. At least you talked about liking it. Kareem Hunt. I got over 15.5 receiving yards.
Receiving?
Yeah.
No. Well, close, but no, I was rushing. Keep going.
Okay. So we took this before the beginning of the year, and I've fed off of your bet because I really liked it too with the 3 units. But I believe it was 16.5 or maybe it was at this 15. It wasn't lower than this. That's what I know. And he hit it easily. It's his second week back. He didn't really look too healthy, and they also just got dominated by Ravens as far as their run game went, and they had to rely on Baker. It was a really, really ugly game between them both, and I could just see it not happening again. So minus 110, I'm going to put 3 units on this. He hit it 4 out of 7 games, so obviously more than 50. Like I spoke about last time versus the Ravens, it was his first week back from his injury, and he didn't hit it. So that's one of the 3 games that he didn't hit it. Browns are coming off a bye, so they had an entire week to like 2 weeks to figure out what the hell happened and what we need to change to make it work. And obviously, if they're going to change anything, it will be the run game because it didn't work well at all. So maybe that's why Josh likes the rush. But I'm going to take the receiving because Hunt's been great as far as the receiver goes in the backfield. And Hunt has had 0 receiving yards last game. Like I said, he didn't really do much at all. So I expected to change and go forward. I can't see the Browns having a huge lead to just run the ball nonstop. I think it's either going to be a close game or Ravens are going to be up, one of the two. Obviously, the Browns could go up, but I just can't see it as far as our divisional goes for AFC North. I just can't see them controlling the game. I think they have done that to the Ravens last year. I think they blew them out or some shit like that. So could it happen? Yeah. Do I think it's going to happen? No. So that's why I'm going to take the receiving as far as game script goes. And it's just 15.5 receiving yards. We all know what Hunt has done in the past. And the games he hit this over, it was by like way more than that. Like we're talking like 30, 40, 50 sometimes.
I think it's more of a if he gets the targets, because if he gets the targets, he's going to get the yards.
Exactly. And I wouldn't even say targets as far as like, oh shit, this plays like if he comes in as like a pass block option and then he's just like, oh, Baker's like, I can't find it and just gives it to him. I mean more like they game script that one play towards giving it to Hunt to get him out wide. Then I think he can easily hit it. So you just double over your rush with him, I guess?
Yeah, so I got his over and 33.5 rush yards, negative 115. I got 3 units on it too. So he's hit every game this year that he's had 10-plus carries by a lot. He went over. His only time he didn't hit it, he had 6 carries.
Okay.
So he's actually having a really good year. This is one of his best years for yards per carry, over at 5 yards per carry. Probably one of the most efficient backs. Everybody knows this. So as long as he's getting his 9+ carries, which I think he will this week, versus it's a bad matchup, I'm not gonna lie. Ravens rush defense has been looking decent.
Lost Humphreys though.
So they lost Humphreys, so there you go. But I just think the Browns are really gonna rely on the rush, and I'm betting on Hunt to break one off for 15-20. So right there gets most of my bet out the way. But yeah, that's what I got for the Browns. What else?
You say it is rushing at
33.5.
33.5. It is low. It's just more or less like
it's really just about getting the carries because every time, like I said, he's got 10+ carries. He's hit every time.
Yeah.
And the one time he didn't, he got 6 carries.
And why is he getting those carries? I think that's more the thing. Like, is it because because they're up by a lot, or is it just because they're running the ball a lot?
No, I think they just like to split the workload.
But that's the thing. Is like last game they tried running and it didn't work at all, so they just abandoned it completely and then just turned it into complete trash. Exactly.
That's what I mean. Like
we're gonna have to change it up somewhat. I agree. All right, well, jumping into my next bet. I I got Robbie Anderson. I don't think I've touched him all year as far as bets go.
That's gross.
I took his under 30.5 receiving yards, minus 110 for 1 unit. It seems low, but obviously he's hit this game. Not obviously, but if you go check, hit this game 8 out of 12 games.
You got 1 unit on it?
Yeah, I got 1 unit on it. Cam Newton loves DJ Moore. The last time Cam Newton was in Carolina, DJ Moore was still there. So obviously they have a connection a lot more than Anderson does because Anderson was on the Jets, I believe, at that time. And Cam arm is not what it used to be back in the heydays when he was at his prime. He can't throw that like deep pass, which is Anderson's sweet spot. He loves going deep and then making some crazy deep pass. So I just can't see Cam doing that whatsoever. So if he's going to get this over, it's going to be off of like him being wide open and DJ Moore being blocked or Hubbard being blocked or something like that to just go his way. But he also just drops the ball a shit ton too. I don't have the drop percentage, but if you look at his targets to receptions, which obviously could mean the quarterback just throws it completely like trash or they're just throwing out a bounce near him. But he just drops the ball a lot from what I've watched this year. So I could just see him not hitting it. And the last meetup versus the Falcons, he had 0 yards and only 1 target. So obviously, like I spoke about, they gave it to DJ Moore a lot more. Cam Newton did. And I just don't see him being used. It's the same thing as his Hilton play that I took last week, and Hilton easily went on the under. I could just see it happening again on the under for him. The only way it happens, like I said, is if he has like 4 or 5 checkdowns, and then he catches each one to get like a first down or something like that. But I think it's gonna be a close enough game with who they play this week.
The Panthers?
Falcons. Panthers play Falcons. I think it could be a close enough game where they don't need to bring it back by a shit ton and have to throw it nonstop. And even if they do, I don't think it's going to be off of Cam's arm. I think it's going to be off of Cam either throwing it to more and more getting yak or Cam just running in general or the running back just running in Hubbard. But either way, I don't think it's going to come through Anderson, so I'm taking his under. First time betting on him, at least this year. I think I did last year, but at least this year, first time betting on him, so I'm going to stick with it. Hopefully it pans out well. If it doesn't, I might steer away from it just because I don't like his name in general as far as betting goes because he's very up or down, hit or miss. If he had a different quarterback, then I could see it being different. But jump on your next one.
Yeah, sure. I think it's my last prop for the week. I got Marquise Brown, Hollywood Brown, over 4.5 receptions, plus 100. I got 1 unit on it. He's 8-12 on the year for this hit.
That's why it's got to be at 140.
He's averaging over 10 targets this year, so I just feel like it's a gimme. Not that I love Hollywood Brown, the player, because I don't think he's great, but if someone's getting targeted that much, it's usually not going to stop, right. Even with Bateman slowly coming up.
The right corner's out, by the way, the Browns.
There you go. Even more to it, but I just don't see how this doesn't hit. And if it doesn't, it's going to be on the hook. Like, there's no way this man gets less than 4 receptions.
Mm-hmm. I mean, 4 receptions is low for anyone that's a number one
that's
target.
Getting 10 targets.
Yeah, that too. Just
I think it's more just a product of how bad Lamar's been in the passing game than anything, but I'll still take it every day, plus units.
It's that, and I also I think it's, like you said, with, like, Jackson not being super positive as far as passing goes, but it's also, like, he's not the guy that they get, like, 5 to 10 yards off of. That's like Andrews type thing. So it's like more of a not deep, but like 10 to like 20, 15 to 20, something like that. And that's where Lamar Jackson struggles the most. I would say is that if it's anything deeper than that, he's probably just like outrunning the dude, and either Jackson's gonna hit or miss, and most of the time he hits those ones. But in that 10 to 20 yard range, that's where Jackson's a little bit eerie and weird. So. You said that was your last prop bet?
Yeah, last prop.
Let me see how many I got. I got 2 more prop bets. My next one is Aaron Rodgers over 60.5 passing yards, minus 110 for 1 unit. He went over this 6 out of 11 games. He only threw 195 yards the last time versus Bears, but that was with both Mack and Hicks, their edge rushers. Very, very good edge rushers, including Mack being like one of the best, are out this game now. And Rodgers has his deep target back now in MVS where he can just toss it downfield. Obviously, he can make almost any of the wide receivers a deep target besides like Cobb, but Cobb's obviously out. But MVS has always been like his strong suit as far as going down and just catching a really deep one. So I'm hoping one of those connect. And he always talks highly about him as well. My only worry is they go up too fast in this game and they have to run the ball nonstop, or they just go up by running the ball versus the Bears, especially if both their edge rushers are out. Then that's the part that scares me because it's over the 250 side, which is like you usually have a better day of throwing if you're over 250. And then it just really comes down to how the game panned out. But like I said, both edge rushers are gone. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to be able to eat. The last time he played him, he's like, I still own you to all the Bears fans. And like all he does is just greatness versus the Bears, even though he had 195 last time. I just can't see it happen again. Maybe it does versus him not having to do anything other than just run the ball. But I'm hoping not, and I'm hoping it's a good game with a deep pass to MVS or Lazard. Could even be Adams, to be honest. But he always gets double coverage, so it's usually Yak if he's going to be doing that. And that's pretty much it. I got my last bet, Brandon Cooks, over 56.5 receiving yards, minus 110, 1 unit. They are playing, Texans are playing who? Seahawks. I don't think Seahawks defense is good at all, especially when you take out their number one defensive player. Jamal Adams is now out. Last time Mills took over the starting role, like he obviously took over when Tyrod Taylor got hurt, like midway through the game. But the first game that he took over like completely as a starter, Cooks had 11 targets for 111 yards versus the Panthers, which is pretty good defense. That does not compare to, why do I keep forgetting, Seahawks, especially with no Jamal Adams. So I could just easily see him hitting this over. He only hit this 5 out of 12 games, so it's not really good as far as how many times has he done this in his track record. But I think they should easily be down versus the Seahawks, because I think the Seahawks have very big splash play capabilities as far as with DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, his favorite weapon. And they could easily just run the ball too and just go up on them really fast. And I don't see them even getting close to making it a game. So I could easily see Mills, even if he throws 2 picks, still just fucking slinging it nonstop. And Brandon Cooks is like really their only liable option as far as receiving goes. I know they have DJ on the backfield, but I don't think he's going to do much. He's washed. So we'll take that and take it at minus 1 unit, or minus 110 for 1 unit. Move on. You have any spreads or over-unders? I don't have any spreads.
One spread, but it's my lock.
Okay, we'll worry about that later. You have a over-under?
Negative.
Okay, I got one over-under. Seahawks versus Texans, taking the lowest over-under of the week, like I always do, and take the over. It missed last week, I believe. But we're going to bounce back, all right? We're definitely well positive as far as these go. I like this over-under, actually, as far as the game goes, because like I was telling you, I could see the Seahawks going up early. They have big splash potential with their receivers. So I can see them easily getting like 28 points to 30 points. And then all you need is Texans to get you like 10 to 14, somewhere around there. So I could easily see it hitting the over. So 40.5 points on the over, minus 114 and 1 unit. All right, well, let's jump straight into I don't have my parlay, and I don't have a lock, but I think I'm going to make my lock later on in this night, probably more Monday, because it's Rams versus Cardinals, and I like all those numbers as far as all those weapons go. Bunch of big names.
Look at their lines at all. I guess I'm moving my one spread, the lock of the week. I got the Bengals money line. They're actually the underdogs, so I got them at plus 105. 5 units on this. It's a home game for the Bengals. I think they're only the underdogs because of last week's awful game versus the Chargers. And like you were saying, dislocated his finger, Burrow. So maybe they're expecting that to hamper the Bengals game a lot. But I think the Bengals at home are they're a good team this year, and their defense has been like spotty, I guess. So like it's had really, really good games and down games. I think this is going to be one of the really, really good games just because they still have playoff potential.
Who they play again?
This year? They get the 49ers. So Jimmy Garoppolo is nothing to be scared of. Debo's hurt. He is going to play, but I don't believe he's in full health. Yeah, I mean, they don't have the scariest offense, and their running backs have been really slacking for what they usually do. Between Elijah Mitchell, I think he might even be out. But yeah, I don't see the 49ers having a great away game, and I see the Bengals defense showing up more than almost anybody. But at the same time, as long as Burrow is healthy enough to chuck the ball and push through the pain or soreness that he still has, I think Chase should have a big, big week. So I like them. Yeah, I think this is it. This is the lock that actually hits for once.
I am going to ride with you, so we have a good podcast and we both hit our hits. If mine doesn't hit, then it's most likely yours isn't going to hit. But that's still not true. You could definitely still hit. What do you have spread?
No, for Bengals, I have money line.
I have money line, just straight underdogs. So kind of spread, but money line. Anyway, I am going to take looking at it. Yeah, why not? Fuck it. Tyler Boyd over 44.5 receiving yards. I took his under. I've been slandering him nonstop. But Higgins has been limited like all week. They expected him to easily play
Boyd over Chase.
Boyd over Chase, yeah. Which I know that hurts your parlay, but I mean, if it goes away from my lock, then at least you're hitting your huge thing, especially if Bengals win. Or maybe they both hit, and then Bengals win. Your lock definitely hits, and then your parlay hits. That would be great. But T. Higgins was questionable all week. He had limited practice all week. I believe actually one of them he didn't practice at all. So I'm hoping that steers towards Boyd. Boyd also had 85 yards last week versus the Chargers, which is a lot better secondary than 49ers, even though 49ers can show up sometimes.
They're on their
decline for sure.
Third cornerback is starting.
I did not know that.
Third
either.
string quarterback.
So, Tyler Boyd's also like the slot guy, like I was talking about, and just check down guy, with what's his name dislocating his finger. I forget what finger it is. Maybe he can't throw it as far, so they have to check it down the Boyd over and over and over again. Boyd hasn't really hit this over much at all, but he's very spotty, and I can just see him not easily hitting this. I could see him hitting this versus 49ers if he's Josh projecting Bengals to win just in general. So I'll take it at okay, let's just say 8 units, and we'll go from there. If it hits,
love him or hate him.
I might just beat Josh yet again. So we'll see how it does.
Easy one for me this week.
All right, we'll see. But we'll take Boyd. Hopefully it pans out, because if it pans out well, if both Josh's hits.
What's Boyd's receptions at?
Receptions.
I feel like that might be a better bet.
Boyd's receptions is at 5.
5?
So,
like 4.5?
4.5.
That's not bad either.
So all of his games where he hit his over on this receiving, he's hit this over on receptions. So I can see what you're saying, but
just helping out because you're about to take an AL.
I
could be wrong,
and that's plus money at 4.5. Damn, I actually might like that. Yeah, fuck it, let's take it because Boyd's a check down dude. So switching it up, instead of yards for 44.5, we'll do receptions at plus money, plus 124 at 8 units.
No, I might lose. But we'll see.
And we'll take it there, and we'll see how it goes. But like I said, if Josh hits his lock, that means money line's happening. If I hit mine and then his parlay hits, we're all making money out here. So if you follow us, then it is what it is. This is like the first time I did a lock right off of the hip and just going with it. If it hits, then I'm just getting some crazy luck with these streaks. But obviously my last ones were all researched and actually well developed, especially with having a spread versus what was the Cardinals? It was spread.
Bears.
No, it was
Spread of -6.5
and then what?
and under 57.5.
Okay, so it was a spread and then over under. So obviously I wanted to what do they call that? Where they like move the line a little bit.
What about
Tease? It's like a teaser, I guess you would say.
Teaser is when it's like multiple lines you're moving,
Okay.
which is kind of what you did, but in the
Yeah.
same game.
But same game teasers, like kind of what I did. So it's a little bit different than just ripping it right off of this based off of whatever Josh's lock is. We're going to ride with it. If we both hit it, that's great. If we don't, then we'll see who wins throughout the week. Whoever has the better prop bets, it really comes down to.
Tried doing a little bit more like scattering my units. Usually I used to stay to like 1 for like majority of them, just because I like all of them obviously, but I feel like when I try to like what I did this week, push towards one
Like
more
some
than
more,
other.
Yeah, you like one more than others.
I feel like that backfires half the time though.
It's
the
been it
ones
worked
that-
out with me last week.
I don't know. I feel like when I stay steady units, it makes it a little easier for me to come positive, but we'll see.
Yeah, it's either a positive or a negative. Like you could either go really like not really high, but like 5 to 10 units, or you could have it at like -5 to 10 units. So it is what it is. Instead of just breaking even, it's funner than going negative.
Let me run my parlay.
All right, yeah, run up a parlay. I don't have my
It's
parlay,
not
but
the same one you're thinking about that you keep mentioning, but this is a same game parlay. I got Hunt over 32.5 rushing yards. I got Devontae Freeman over 14.5 receiving yards. I have the total of the game between Browns and Ravens over 43.5. Rashad Bateman over 24.5 receiving yards. Mark Andrews over 56.5 receiving yards, and Lamar Jackson under 230.5 passing yards. So
one of your props kind of screws this thing because you took what's his name's over as far as the receiving goes. You took
Devontae
Browns.
Freeman. Wait, what?
You took Browns over on either receptions or receptions.
Marquise Brown's over 4.5 receptions.
And now you want Bateman to go over and Andrews to go over.
And Jackson be under.
Something's losing here. I don't know what's losing, but
Yeah, well, if this hits, I'm all cool for it. Because I got plus 16,600 odds, so yeah, I got a unit on it, and it's going to suck giving away if I win. But I don't think it's going to hit.
I don't know,
But
like it, to be honest.
It's more just a throw at the dart.
Especially Freeman's receiving.
One pass.
That's like I'm going to say 30% that it's going to hit.
You'd be surprised how much it hits.
Okay.
All right. We'll see how it goes.
All
The
right.
hardest, honestly, the only thing that boosted the odds so much was Bateman, Andrews over, and then Lamar
Jackson's under. What's Jackson's under to what?
230.
Damn,
I feel like
that's
that
pretty,
could hit, though, those three.
That's pretty close, though, because if they could definitely both go over because Bateman's is so low, and Andrews kind of like always hits that over, and then Jackson could like run out the ball a lot more than
Yeah,
he
they
has
all
in
could
the
be
past.
close, but they all could go right over
Yeah.
and under.
It could be like split between
I mean,
over-unders with all of them,
I
like
hope
right
they
next to
either
each other.
all don't hit, though, or if I get beat by one, it's the worst.
Especially if it's like a Hunt over under
that
the
would suck.
32.5. That would suck big time. All right, well, that's it for this week. We hope you guys join us next week, joining into week 15. I believe it's the first week of fantasy playoffs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
15.
And obviously everyone's breaking down as far as NFL goes, whatever team you're rooting for to make it the playoffs. It's a big, huge week is week 15 to see who's going to make it or not make it, who's going to fall short, especially with the showings of this week. But we guys hope you guys have a great Sunday. Watch football. And that's pretty much about it. Peace.